What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. Finally getting an opportunity to do a showcase for the new Sugo-Fest exclusive Nami, or should we say Super Sugo-Fest exclusive Nami. Now, initially when I saw the fact that Nami was going to be a Super Sugo-Fest character, honestly, wasn't that excited at all. However, after seeing the data download and seeing this character's abilities, and now getting access to use this character in content, I think this is probably the most exciting character out of all of the anniversary, or I keep saying anniversary, but it's the New Year celebratory characters. This character has some really unique mechanics, and I think that this is going to be a character that ages very well. And especially if you're like a newer player or a mid-game player, this is going to be a fantastic character for your account that you can synergize well with a lot of really powerful characters in order to clear content with. So Nami's captain ability is really strong in the fact that it reduces her own cooldown by 3 turns at the start of the quest, but then also will allow the rest of the characters to get -1 cooldown as well. So it's actually very reminiscent of the 6++ Uta, the new shooter version of Uta, very similar. And then in terms of the attack multipliers, it boosts Strength, Striker, and Free Spirit. So you've got access to one of the best colors in the game, and then 2 of the best classes in the game. Free Spirit, we all know how good that is. Striker have a lot of top-end talent, and especially with all of the New Year's characters, and also with previously released characters, and also with Uta, like this character just can synergize with so many powerful characters. And the attack multiplier that she gives is based on the tap timing of the previous character. So it'll be either 5.25 at a minimum, up to a 5.5 at a maximum. So long as you consistently hitting your perfects, the attack multiplier will keep being 5.5 times multiplier. But even if you're not hitting your perfects, you're still getting 5.25. So the discrepancy between the multipliers is negligent. It's not really that bad at all. On top of that, you get 1.3 health boost, and Sai, Recovery, and Tandem slots are beneficial to the crew, and greatly boost the chances of landing on tandem slots. So you get a really high chance of landing it, comparatively to versus Yamato. Through using that character as a captain and comparing that with Nami, I definitely felt like Nami was the better captain for getting those slots. And I guess, it is kind of annoying that it doesn't specify how much of a chance it is to really land on these slots comparatively between these captains. I can tell you for sure that using Nami and then even double Nami as a captain, you're going to consistently see these tandem slots as a captain. And then the really neat added effect, the thing that just tips this character over the top as one of the best captains in the game, if you're inflicted with paralysis, completely removes paralysis duration and reduces her own cooldown by the amount of turns that you reduced paralysis by. Now, the really cool thing about this is if the entire team is inflicted, hypothetically, with 1 turn of paralysis, then each character that had the paralysis that gets removed is added as a cooldown. So you have 6 characters on the crew, you remove paralysis on all 6 characters by 1 turn. That equates to -6 cooldown on Nami herself. So you can see how this can stack quite quickly, and you can if you just know how the planning of the content goes, if you know on a certain stage that you're going to be inflicted with paralysis that Nami can remove, you can plan it so you can just use Nami's special on the stage prior, you move on to the next stage, and her special's immediately ready again. You can do some really neat stuff with it. Or alternatively, you can just ultra charge the special in order to get the more beneficial effects, which we'll talk about in just a moment. But of course, if you are inflicted with despair at the same time as paralysis, she will not remove the paralysis at all, which is obviously the biggest drawback. And we're using this team here with Roger as the friend captain to get around the gimmicks that happen on Battle 5 with getting around enemy despair, and also the enemy inflicts you with paralysis, so we can get around both of those effects. Of course, the new versus Yamato can also do stuff like that as well. But overall, the captain ability of Nami is just phenomenal, and as I said, can synergize so well with some of the best characters in the game. If you opt to use her as a captain, you'll get access to her superclass special. She's a superclass striker as well, which is kind of neat. And in order to activate the superclass, you need a Straw Hat on the crew, or alternatively, you can have Yamato on the crew as well, which is a neat addition. Or alternatively, you don't even even have to have one of these characters at all. You can just launch 4 specials throughout the entire duration of your run, and then that'll activate her superclass, which is neat. And the actual effect is pretty good too, getting you 100 times her attack in typeless damage to all enemies that ignores all defensive effects and base defense. So I can see this character being used in treasure maps, for example, just to, wave clear with the superclass special. It also removes 5 turns of damage threshold as well, which is a really neat addition. And it also changes her own slot through block into Tandem, and also boost damage dealt against enemies that are inflicted with the paralysis debuff by 2.25 for 2 turns, and then of course striker characters become super striker. So the fact that this character's superclass special can be used in so many different ways. We already touched up on using it for a speed farming shenanigan. You could use it to remove damage threshold. You can use it to get a guaranteed tandem slot. And obviously the most important way would be the guaranteed conditional boost, the 2.25 times conditional boost inflicted to enemies that have the paralysis debuff. Now, unfortunately, there aren't really a lot of characters that can inflict paralysis to the opponent. There's only really a very small amount of characters that can do it, including this Nami herself, which we'll talk about in just a moment. But overall, the superclass effect and superclass special is very good, and the condition for the superclass is also very acceptable. But now we get to talk about the most exciting part of this character. I mean, I guess the captain ability, you could say, is probably the most exciting, but the special has some really neat stuff going on. So it immediately starts off the special by stating that this special can be charged over its max cooldown, which is a pretty neat effect. And, as soon as you read that, something crazy is about to happen. The actual effect of the special does give you -1 cooldown to the entire crew. It reduces all enemies' rainbow shield and resilience by 7 turns, so a really neat piece of utility there. And it also does 200 times her attack and typeless damage to all enemies. That's also really cool. The damage doesn't go through immunity though, or any defensive effects or base defense, so it is just normal damage. And then it will also apply paralysis to the enemy for 3 turns that ignores immunity to status effects. So of course you can use her special ability in tandem with her super class special to get the 2.25 times conditional boost to activate whenever you need it. So it's an incredibly powerful effect. When you inflict the enemy with this paralysis as well, it means that there's a 75% chance that the enemy will not attack you. Now, we have had paralysis effects in the past, and I believe, to my knowledge, this is the highest chance of actually paralyzing an enemy with the paralysis debuff. 75% chance for it to hit, which is pretty good. It doesn't really matter that much though. The only reason why this really exists is to use the special so that you can get that conditional boost to actually activate. Just getting the 2.25 times free damage is really strong. It then continues on with some really neat effects of providing a chain multiplier boost to the crew. It's a chain addition, so this will stack with chain multiplier buffs and chain boundaries, but it's a 1.5 chain multiplier additional boost. However, for every 5 special charge time over her max, you get an additional 0.1 to the chain multiplier. And this is really neat because if you're able to stack it all the way to the maximum, you can get a 2.5 times chain addition, which is the highest chain addition in the game by far. Nothing even comes close. This is an incredibly powerful addition to just about any team. A 2.5 chain added bonus is really strong. It does continue on to state that it will give a base attack boost to Psy Striker and Free Spirit. On initial launch, it's 1250 additional base attack, which is perfectly acceptable. However, once again, every 5 special charge over the maximum gets you an additional 250 base attack, stacking up to a total maximum of 3000. And once again, this is by far and away the biggest base attack bonus you can get from a special ability. I think the next highest you can get from a special literally is 1500. So the fact that this can double the cap of our previous, best base attack boosting effect that you can get just goes to show how strong this character is going to be as time progresses. But of course, being able to charge the special past the maximum is difficult to do. The only real times you're going to actively see it is if you are inflicted with heavy paralysis from the opponent, But then again, you know, in that situation, Nami is going to be the best captain in any content that has heavy paralysis, you know, on multiple different stages. Nami is going to be so good for that, being able to supercharge her special, or alternatively, you don't even have to, you know, supercharge her special. You can use her special earlier on one stage, get inflicted with paralysis, and then use her special again on another stage after you're already inflicted with paralysis, you're removing it, and then you get the special back. So there's really cool, neat ways that you can abuse this character's special. And then continuing on, just adding even more bonuses on top of everything, she does also have a super tandem. And at level 5, it will only activate at the final battle. So that is the only caveat to this character, I would say, as a whole, is that the super tandem, while it is strong, only launches on the last stage. And you do need 2 characters plus Nami in order to activate it. So you need a Straw Hat, you can use Charlotte Linlin as well, and you can use Yamato. But the effect will give you a 2.25 times tandem attack boost to Striker and Free Spirit. Unfortunately, the tandem attack boost does not go for Psy characters either, which would have been a really nice touch. I'm not really too sure why they didn't do that. But it also will increase the crew's increased damage effects by 0.5. Now, the way that this is worded is kind of strange, but the way that it is supposed to work is that any conditional boost on your crew gets a 0.5 added to it. So what it means is that if you have Nami's conditional boost active from her superclass special, when you activate the super tandem during that turn, the 2.25 times conditional attack boost that Nami gives you will become a 2.75 times conditional attack boost. So yeah, you can already see how this is gonna stack pretty crazily. And once again, if you end up using the new Super Sugo-Fest exclusive Nico Robin plus this Nami, and you have both of them activated at the same time, this super tandem will buff both Robin's and Nami's conditional boost, allowing you to get so much more additional damage, as you're able to get essentially 2.75 times conditional attack boosts. It's just crazy. This character has a lot going for it. Great synergies, and once again, I do think this character is going to age incredibly well. And then finally, we can talk about her support effect, which attaches once again to any Straw Hat or Yamato. And the fact is that this support effect is also really strong. Whenever you're inflicted with paralysis, you reduce paralysis by 1, and then you remove 1 turn of cooldown, or you minus the cooldown of all characters by 1 turn. And I love the fact that it's for all characters. But I think the biggest takeaway from this support effect is not only is it just a rainbow, you know, paralysis reducing effect, and it is neat that you get the minus cooldown, but I think the biggest thing about it is the fact that it's a new support for Yamato, and Yamato doesn't have a lot of support characters right now. So I think that any new character that can do that is going to be a great addition to your account. You know, obviously we have a couple of supports right now, but it's not that many, so any utility of supports that we get is a great addition, and this is going to be a fantastic addition for any Yamato on any account. If you have this Nami, you should be very, very happy. And that's going to wrap it up for me. Big fan of this character, and I really cannot wait to use her more in the future. I really hope you guys have enjoyed this video today, and if you guys did enjoy it, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.
Ikua yo!